always been interested in music. I started playing guitar and, really wanted to be more into rock music than into techno. The time that I grew up was when scratching was becoming really, really big. I used to carry records with me all the time when I was a kid, like 13, 14 years old. And I remember going down to Atlanta for a family reunion, and I had this Egyptian Lover record with me. And I really wanted to play at the family reunion. There were a couple of DJs that were playing, and they were kind of whack. So a cousin's husband said, "Hey, why don't you let the young boy get on?" So that was my first taste of really DJing. And the first time that I played the record was incredible. Everybody went crazy. Can I play another record? Put on another record. It sucked. Everybody. So they yanked me off the stage. It takes a lot of practice. It's like if you're going to play football, you can't be a great striker unless you just practice striking, unless you practice defense, unless you practice all these things. So it's the same thing with making electronic music. You can't just push a button and then a song comes out, You have to sit there and you have to practice. The same way Eddie Van Halen had to practice all his riffs and arpeggios. The problem now is that you can get programs like Ableton or Reason or Logic or any of these programs that you can do as much as any multi-million-dollar studio could ever do with these low $500 programs and stuff. So there's too many options. The best situation for me was that I started with a synthesizer and a sequencer, and that's how I learned how to do everything, was just with one instrument and a sequencer. I didn't have compressors, I didn't have a mixing console, I didn't have EQs, I didn't have effects, I didn't have anything. I just had, one instrument, and that's the best way to start. So when you find yourself getting stuck, the best thing is just get rid of everything, don't touch anything except for one instrument, and then learn that instrument. And if it takes a year to learn it, then you have to do it. And I've been doing this for more than 20 years, so there's a time when you just kind of say, I don't want to make music in my bedroom anymore. I want to make music like how the pros make it. My taste changed, and it's like going from drinking Coca-Cola to drinking champagne. After a while you just get tired of drinking Coke. You just want to have something that's very good, something that's mature, something that has more of, maybe a bit more of a complexity to it or something. That's what it comes to with me and my studio and stuff. Like, my studio now is like, Cristal. It's not even Dom Perignon. It's like Cristal. It's like the top of the line shit. I met Derek in 1988, I believe it was, and I met him because I loved his music, and I knew somebody who knew him. And I think Derek and Kevin Saunderson I met at the same time. Derek has a very strong personality, and a personality that musically was maybe more in line with what I was doing, and that's why I ended up following Derek. We had conflict, which made me move on to the next step, but I think without those lessons from the early days with Derek, I wouldn't have been able to listen to music in the same way. The foundation was started in order to introduce younger people that come from a similar situation that I did, working class family, middle class, that listen to radio and don't have a lot of opportunities to be influenced outside of radio. I was fortunate because growing up in the 70s, that was when electronic music was really starting to increase in popular culture. With radio, with hearing rock radio, with hearing punk, with hearing funk, with hearing all this stuff, it just really gave that large possibility to interpret music in another way. It wasn't just hearing Madonna records all day, you know, which if I would have grown up maybe 10 or 15 years later, then that would have been what influence I would have got from the radio. It wouldn't have been a mixture of, you know, I wouldn't have saw Michael Jackson rise as a pop star. You know, I wouldn't have saw Prince rise as a pop star. I wouldn't have gone from listening to funk music like Parliament Funkadelic to listening to Talking Heads to listening to Crafter if it wasn't for the radio. So, you know, it was those times were really important to be influenced by new music and to have an appreciation for it the way that it was presented.